today. We're talking about how to make grown men cry and why making them cry, and not in the way that you exactly think, is actually a great way to assess men, because men don't know what they want. And if you can clock what they want before they know that you clock it, then first and foremost, you can wrap them around your little finger. And also, you can avoid a lot of bad things because you know whether this man is someone to mess with or not. So you may ask, how can you make a grown man cry in a way that's actually beneficial to you? First and foremost, making grown men cry. Second of all, a lot of grown men today actually don't want a partner. They don't want a woman. They want a therapist. And because patriarchy or other men or the male gaze or whatever has made it seem like going to therapy is a bad and not a masculine thing to do, what these men truly want but are not happy to admit or don't want to admit is that they want someone they can talk about their feelings to. And the reason this is such a prevalent thing to talk about is because recently we've been seeing a rise in dating shows like Love is Blind, where women and men are paired together based on their personalities and not their looks. And one thing that I have clocked as someone who likes to watch these programs for research, yes, research, also fun. One thing I've noticed very much is that these men, they actually do not let the women talk. Generally, especially the American versions of these, so clock that, girlies. They do not let the women talk. And as soon as they get to talk, it's all about everything that they went through and all of the things that they did wrong. And what they're secretly looking for is some type of validation. Actually, the validation that someone gets from a therapist. And one thing I've noticed too is that a lot of these girlies fumble this opportunity to really gauge what a man got going on. First and foremost, I will say that there's nothing wrong with a man crying in the right circumstances, but if you are crying through the wall to a woman that you have gone on a couple pod dates with, then surely there's something wrong and you should be getting a therapist, not a pod girlfriend on Love is Blind. They feel like because no one's watching them, now they can let their guard down. And this is exactly when men tell on themselves big time. And I'm not saying we all gotta go sign up to Love is Blind so we can really trick these men and see what men really got in their thoughts. But I will say it is actually very beneficial for us as womankind to watch these crazy dating shows, because they will teach you a lot about men, but they will also teach you a lot about how women are so desperate for companionship that they are willing to settle for a man that is not emotionally mature, that has been unfaithful before, and for a man who is secretly looking for a therapist. And when he finds out that that woman that he's talking to is not necessarily going to be able to fulfill that role or fill that gap that he needs to fulfill for himself, because girls, you're not going to be able to fill that gap in his life if he cannot fill it himself. He needs you to be surplus, not a gap that he's filling. If you are someone who sits down and watches some of these dating shows, and let's talk about, maybe I should talk about that in another video, how dating has been commodified. I mean, secret is, it's always been commodified. When you sit down and you watch these shows, and you also watch my videos on the side, yeah, my videos are that good. Anyways, you will start to pick up on both the need for a therapist for these men and how you can literally get them to be wrapped around your little finger. You can actually use their vulnerability, which is not vulnerability, it's just because they literally have never worked on their feelings. They haven't balanced their feminine energy. Yes, girls, it's not just about being masculine when you're a man and feminine when you're a woman. It's about balancing your feminine and your masculine energy so that you could step into the one that you are better at embodying. These men on these dating shows are so caught up in trying to reveal themselves to these women, not clocking that someone like me is out there watching those videos, posting about this stuff on social media, but also not clocking that they're literally revealing parts of themselves that can be used against them to have a power up on them. And I'm not saying we definitely need to dominate men, but I'm also not saying that. So anyways, back to how you can make a grown man cry. Well, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is obviously, as I said before, if you can make a grown man cry and not like on some, family member dies and you're at their funeral, that's when they should be crying. This is the good crying. We're talking, this man is crying over unresolved issues from his past that he's now revealing to you. First and foremost, the first thing we have to clock before we get into how to make a grown man cry is if a grown man cries like this, it is not a sign that he feels close to you. It is just a sign that he feels that you are not a threat and you are not someone that he cares enough about to be on his game with. He knows that this is an opportunity to let his guard down because he does not see you as a threat. And this is exactly why, if you want to make grown men cry so that you can reveal their true nature, the best thing you can do as a woman is to come off as less of a threat. And how do you do that? First and foremost, you can come off as if you are a little ditzy. Me, a neurodivergent girly who has zero social cues, it is very easy for me to come off a little ditzy because I am. And I'm not ditzy when it comes to being a smarty pants, because I am a smarty pants. And I've been a smarty pants level 1000 when I was back in school. But I am ditzy when it comes to picking up that people are talking about maybe something that's a little serious, or people telling me a little bit about things that I should definitely be picking up on so that I can read the room. This is something that is an advantage of me because men in general, when they see a beautiful woman who's dolled up, her long hair, makeup, nails done, they will think, oh, this woman is all beauty, no brains, because men cannot fathom that a woman can be both beautiful and smart at the same time. So I use this to my advantage to make sure that these men let their guards down. And no, we're not just talking about men that you are in relationships with or that you are in, God forbid, situationships with. We are talking about men as a whole, because no matter if you choose to be single and you choose to live your gorgeous, amazing single life, or you choose, yes, it's a choice, to go into the dating market. Yes, it's a choice. You're entering into the dating market, so you're entering into a game. Yes, it's a choice. So you have to clock the game, and you can't be on some, I don't like playing games. It's a game, girl. It's a game. No matter whether you enter into the game of dating or you're just a woman living on this planet Earth, you have to be aware of knowing how to make men in certain environments feel that their guard is lowered so that they will reveal more about themselves, so that you can learn more about their inherent and true behavior. Men will not reveal their true nature. Actually, they will, but they will only be defensive, and then you can't really learn about why they act the way they act so that you can flip the switch and use their behavior against them and for yourself. If you are constantly on some I'm smarter than men and I'm better than men and blah 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 blah, and I'm not saying that you aren't, I'm just saying that men do not like feeling that they are not smarter than you. Men need to feel that they got more going on than you do. And if they don't feel that, especially then when they're very, very insecure men in, worse environments, then they will do everything they can to expose you, to have a hoax against you, literally paint you as a bad witch, because they do not like the fact that you are someone who is willing to stay in your power and stand in your power, and you are smart inherently. This is also why weaponizing your looks is such an important thing as a woman. I do not sleep on dressing nice. And that can mean many things. It can mean dressing in streetwear. It can mean dressing classy. I like to use dressing classy as a way to get people to underestimate make them think that I'm just plain so that they leave me alone. But I also consider myself a walking social experiment because I like to see how people react as social experiment, because I've clocked that people change depending on what I wear. As someone who used to be a certified streetwear queen, and I definitely still love streetwear, one thing I've definitely noticed is that men think that you are a specific type of person that will engage in specific activities, and that you will want to be around specific people for a vain reason if you are a person who dresses up specific ways. I am someone who has 57 tattoos, and I am very expressive. Like, I love dressing up in colors and, you know, showing my tattoos, streetwear. If you follow me on my Instagram, you also will see that I mix and match a little bit of this and that. But I also know that when you're someone who's walking in the street with your tattoos out and you're wearing streetwear, you will get approached. You'll get approached because you fit a specific look, so people think that you're a specific person. And if you are a woman who has not worked on yourself, you will fall into the trap of thinking that because you dress in a specific way, because you listen to specific music, because you have specific interests, that means that you need to be around specific people. And I remember I've had this happen to me multiple times. One of the most stark experiences I've had of this was when I was in Melrose and I was walking down Melrose Avenue, and I'm wearing babe stuffs and I'm like dressed up in streetwear, and some guy comes up to me and is like, "Hey shawty," type thing, trying to tell me that, oh, my sneakers are really fire, and asking if I deal with the devil's broccoli, and I say no. And he asks me if I drink, and I say no. He asks me if I party, and I say no, because I don't do any of these things. I'm not that type of person. There's nothing wrong if you like those things, by the way, but that's just not me. I'm much more of a homebody, explore. I like shopping. I like just minding my business, doing my thing, seeing sights. I like traveling. I like movies. I like going to places where my favorite movies are shot. All of this. Anyways, I regress. This guy came up to me on some, "Oh, I know a party you would love to come to. You should come to this party." And I'm like, "No thanks." And this was solely based off of me wearing a specific type of sneaker, a specific type of outfit, looking a specific way. Well, this has to do with making grown man cry in the way that if you want to truly figure out how men operate, you also have to be willing to see how you show up, how you dress as a social experiment to reveal whether men treat you differently based on how you show up, and they will. And I'm not saying you should be putting yourself out here like a guinea pig to try out things. If you are very young, this can be something that you can have more fun with because you're very, very young. If you're like less than 25, or you're like your early 20s, you're like 18, 19, why are you even worrying about men? Like, girl, you should be having fun time. Just make sure that you don't get pregnant. That's all I say. But when I started dressing classy, the way that men, especially like men that are on some business thing, started approaching me and revealing all kinds of things to me within just having like a short little conversation with me is insane. And this is why coming off as someone who is comes from if you dress up that like you come from a specific way of living, if you dress up really classy, really nice, people will assume that you are used to a certain standard of living, and they will feel that you are not someone who's first and foremost going to spill their secrets, because it seems to them that you have got enough going for yourself, that you're not going to ruminate over what they got going on, and they feel like you are a safe space. Yeah, men care about safe spaces too. They just don't want to say that because it's not masculine. If you dress really, really classy, and as I said, I'm all about dressing however you want. However you want. You can dress however you want, but you have to be able to clock that how you show up is gonna give men an idea of who you are and how much they can reveal to you, because they're gonna see you as a threat or not. And if you dress really, really classy, really, really feminine, men are just gonna see some young, beautiful girl who's probably really impressionable, who's probably someone who's used to getting treated very well. And because she is used to getting treated very well, if they give you all of this and all of this space, all of these things, and offer you all of this, then they feel like they have a safe space because you're probably not gonna betray them. Little do they know that we're absolute menaces. So now that you've ambushed the men by looking like a snack, a beautiful girl, so that they don't think you're a threat, they think that you're just beautiful, that you don't have anything going in here, how do you make them cry? How do you make them tell you their secrets? How? Well, let me tell you this. What you do is that you say nothing. You just sit there, act pretty. I mean, you are pretty. You are a pretty girl. And then you maybe ask them a couple questions about themselves. And before you know it, the ball's going to be rolling and they're going to reveal more and more and more and more and more about themselves. And you don't even have to do anything but sit there and nod and say, yeah, oh, interesting. Here, the worst thing you can do, depending on what your strategy is with this man, if it's a man you're trying to date, well, you should definitely just be clocking his behavior first and foremost. He should be trying to date you. You shouldn't be trying to date him. That's what I'm saying. But you need to be very aware whether you are agreeing with this man, saying that, oh, you're so right. You know what? Oh, you did this and this wrong. Don't worry. Because this is exactly what the men are fishing for. A lot of the men, especially the very insecure, immature men, a lot of men are in their late 30s and they'll still be very emotionally immature like this. They will yap about everything that they've done wrong, waiting for you to confirm to them that it wasn't that bad. A man could be unfaithful in a previous relationship. A man could have done so many bad things and he's waiting for you to let him know that it's okay that he did that. That's how he knows he has an in on you and that you're easy to mess with. You shouldn't be letting him know that you agree with it. You should just be letting him know, oh, interesting. I'm listening. Interesting. And ask him questions like, oh, how do you feel about that? That's interesting. And if he starts asking you questions about yourself, always make it reflect back to him. And he's going to be like, wow, she wants to talk about me so much. She doesn't care about herself. In reality, you truly care about yourself much more. But you care about yourself so much that you are willing to listen a little bit more than you're talking, so that you don't reveal too much about yourself, but you reveal a heck of a lot about this man. So that it's going to be way easier for you to make a clean-cut exit because you have more of his poker cards on file now. And he doesn't think that he's revealing his cards to you because he thinks that you're someone who's just, oh, you're someone who's easy to ambush. Or you're just like, oh, you're just some ditzy girl, pretty girl. You don't know what's going on. This is your prerogative, honey. This is your prerogative, girl. He is going to think that you are someone who he has wrapped all around his finger because now he's revealed all of his deep, dark secrets to you. This is where he's going to start crying if you let him talk for long enough. And this is a way that he thinks that you are gonna bond to him because it's like, oh my God, he's revealing his feelings to me. But in reality, if you're the smart woman here, and that's what I'm teaching you to be, you need to be like, wow, you're getting really emotional. It's okay for you to get emotional. And instead you clock that, first and foremost, he gets emotional from talking to a stranger. Red flag. It should be a red flag if you sit and cry in front of strangers too. I might have to say that because we don't talk about that enough. And if you want me to make a full video about, you need to stop crying in front of strangers, especially men you haven't known for that long. Girl, he is gonna think he's the man because he's crying. Yeah. And he thinks he got you wrapped around his little finger. But in reality, now you've opened up the door. You've made the bridge to Terabithia ready. And now you can step into the fantasy land of harvesting whatever this man got going on in his head so you can use it to your benefit. So make sure whether this man is going to be good for you. Assess whether he's going to be good for you quickly and then move on swiftly. And if you can get a grown man to cry, you've won. Game over. KO. And you might say, well, it's not a game. We should all love each other. You remember the first thing I mentioned in this video was the Love is Blind, and how these men go on there to actually find a therapist they can vent to instead of actually finding a woman. As soon as they get out of those pods, you know what I noticed? They revert right back to their bro stage, because now they have to face that person and they're no longer just some wall they're talking to. Technically, when they're talking to a girl in the pod, this woman is not necessarily the woman they're gonna marry, so they just get her energy for free. They get her energy for free to vent to. And this is exactly why I also say, let these grown men cry so you can deselect them. Let them cry first and foremost, so that you know you should never mess with this man again. But don't let him cry so that you feel that you need to pat him on his back. This is what the men want. They want you to tend to him like you're some little boy because they haven't healed some wound inside of them. This is not the role that you should be fulfilling. You should not be fulfilling the role of being the woman who's patting them on their back, because these men will soon enough, as soon as they see another man, they will be like on some bro stuff, right? Because they truly didn't care about you. They cared about the energy that you could offer them. And what they really want is that they want to drain you. So in these instances where men talk about their own problems, clock it so that you can clock it in the book of behavior of men and what men do and what men think. Second of all, you also need to start singing Christmas songs in your head every single time a man starts talking about himself a little too much. So, or start planning stuff you got going on. Start thinking to you, like, don't let this man energy harvest you, and don't let this man stick around for too long. Don't let a man cry to reveal, if you're very young, let the man cry to reveal his thoughts so you clock what men got going on. If you're a gal who's a little older, I've stopped wasting your time. If he's crying, that's why I think the whole Love is Blind thing is absolutely insane to me, because these men are on here crying about their problems, and they are 30 plus. They're like 35, crying about how they were unfaithful in a relationship, crying about all of the stuff they went through. And they're a woman on the other side of a wall, literally just a voice. This could be a therapist, yes. And they are here using these interactions with women to get their emotions out. And as soon as they leave the pods with their prospective wife that they're probably not going to marry, because you know how these shows go, they are going to be on some bro stuff again. Now they're trying to show up. Now they're trying to like ooh, because they don't care. This is also why making grown men cry, this is the other part of making grown men cry. This is not them revealing their deepest, darkest secrets, because they don't care about you and they think that you're just some woman they can talk to because you're not going to do anything about it. You need to walk away from the men so they start crying about you. Walk away so that these men cry, because they realized that they cannot just get a woman and a therapist and someone who's there for them without them giving an effort. I wholeheartedly believe that shows like Love is Blind are made for men that don't want to make an effort. They want to get all of the emotional intimacy, which is also a way of stealing energy. They want to get all of that, but they don't want to have the responsibility of actually curating a relationship. That's why they go to a program like Love is Blind, because they will have everything set up for them. Like if they just enter into this and they speak a little bit, like if they say a little bit of this and a little bit of that, they will and they say that they love a woman. They just say they love a woman. They don't even have to do anything like, oh, I love you. Then they can first and foremost get a lot of energy, get a lot of fame for being on the show, which will basically heighten their prospects of getting a woman in the future, even if they don't get with that woman that they're choosing in the pod and they're choosing her. Like the show is set up for them to leave with something, right? So now other women are also going to think that there's some kind of catch because they're emotional. This is where we have to be smart and say, no, a man is not a catch because he's emotional like that. He just hasn't learned how to work on himself. We talk a lot about today that men need to be more emotional and boys cry too. Boys need to cry as well. Men need to cry as well. But there is a limit to who they need to be crying to. They should be crying to each other. They should be talking about the things that we girls talk about. I'm not saying they should. That would actually scare me a little bit. But with this whole boys need to cry too thing, the men are actually weaponizing that so that we will have to listen to them more and spend our energy on them. And then when we say, oh, you know what, I don't have time to listen to your crying, they will take up the mental health card in their poker deck. But my mental health, but my mom, but my issues. And then it'll be like, I don't want to leave this man, because us women, we started the whole men need to cry too movement. And now I don't want the men to like feel bad. So I'm going to have to stick it out with this man. That's how he gets you. He doesn't care. He's not crying because he cares about you. He's crying because he wants a therapist. And this is why you need to clock that. And this is why you actually need to make grown men cry by walking away so that they can't cry to you for free. If they truly want to cry to you, if they truly want to like have some woman who's low-key their therapist, they need to truly like do something for you. So almost they cry out of exhaustion of having been such a good man. They're doing everything that they can to get you. You need to have boundaries that are so strong that if a man starts crying, it's like goodbye. Because you know what? That's how men are usually when it comes to women. That's why in these shows, you know what? I remember there was one person, she was talking about something that she went through, and it was like a very, very small thing. And because she brought it up very calmly, very reassured, like the guy was like, I don't know if you're hiding something. If a man had said the exact same thing that she had done, he would have been praised for being calculated and good with words. But because the woman was more hesitant with showing her emotion and being honest about the things she's feeling and what she's gone through, suddenly she's hiding something. This is how men weaponize the whole emotions, because they think, oh well, men are supposed to be showing their emotions right now. That's what we're doing in 2025. But a woman showing her emotions, I don't know about that, because they're not emotionally mature. They want their ego to be stroked. Oh, your emotions are valid, oh my god, my king, your emotions are valid. He does not want his queen. He just wants your attention and your energy, and you patting him on his head saying, oh my god, little doggy, I'm so sorry for you. So also make the grown men cry by leaving and letting them sit in their own sauce and cry, because they realize that they can't get the energy that they want from you. So now they're going to have to cry on their own. Crying for men is actually much more about, what I think would be healthy for men personally is crying on your own, crying with your family members. But no, they want someone to cry in front of, because it's all about performance. It's all about getting someone's energy, because you cannot fill that gap yourself. I know for a fact that when I cry, yes, I'm a crier. When I cry, and I don't cry on social media, I don't cry on video, because that's a performance. That's performative, in my opinion. It will turn performative very quickly, because you will get energy from people, and that is actually not you getting people to console you. It's taking from people because you need them to console you. That's what men do. They don't want to cry behind the camera. They want to cry on camera because they're... Why do you think they go on this show where everything is set up for them to get a woman to leave with? So they get to go on a show, they get to sit behind a wall, not even talk to a woman, not even have to, they don't have to buy her anything, they don't have to do anything, they just have to sit and talk to her. They can literally be scratching their own cheeks, and then like, oh, they'll get a woman if they just say that they love her enough and that her struggles are valid a little bit. And if they can get her to validate their struggles, then oh, we're a match made in heaven. And they do leave with even more attention from people all around the world that are on some, oh my god, you cried, you're such a strong man, you're so strong for putting yourself out there. This man did nothing. The only way you should make these men cry, apart from let them cry so we can clock their problems first and foremost, and these shows, make them cry so that you can clock whatever they got going on in their head, so you don't spend time around them, and then make them cry because you leave them. Boo-hoo. Let them cry on their own. That's what they need. Give them what they want. Give them what they need. They don't know that they need it, but give it to them.